Welcome. I'm Kate Klimo, and this is the Cox 3 Candidate Forum series featuring candidates in the upcoming June 3rd statewide primary election. In this edition, we'll feature candidates running for the open 73rd Assembly District seat, which is currently held by termed-out Assemblywoman Diane Harkey. The 73rd Assembly District incorporates much of South Orange County, including all or portions of the cities of Aliso Viejo, Dana Point, Laguna Hills, Laguna Niguel, Mission Viejo, San Juan Capistrano, and San Clemente, as well as the unincorporated areas of Coto de Caza, Ladera Ranch, Las Flores, and Wagon Wheel. Please welcome our candidates, Anna Bryson and Wendy Gabriella. The other candidates in this race, Bill Breaux, Jesse Patria, and Paul Glab, declined to participate in this forum. Here's how the format will go. Each candidate will be given 2 minutes to make an opening statement. I will then pose a series of questions, and each candidate will have 2 minutes in which to respond. At the end of the questions, each candidate will have 2 minutes to provide a closing statement. Beginning in the order they appear on the ballot, we'll start with the opening statement from Anna Bryson.
Hi, my name is Anna Bryson, and thank you for welcoming me into your home. I recently voted as a member of the Board of Trustees of Capistrano Unified School District to return $59 million in tax savings to the taxpayers and constituents of Mission Viejo, Ladera, Aliso Viejo, and Talega. This is an example of what I have done. And what I have done is what I intend to do if you honor me with your vote and I go to Sacramento. I also moved for the past 7.5 years to make sure that we put all of the budget online, that we enforced and made sure that we had the importance of education in the classroom focused, and we have ended up, after years of disturbance and turmoil, as the top large district in the state of California in performance. Capistrano Unified is an example of what I intend to do when I go for you, and I hope to have that opportunity. It's $140 million that was cut out of the budget in order to save Capistrano Unified from having problems in bankruptcy. So the attention to finance from years of being a businesswoman is part of the package that I will offer to you. It's my knowledge, my expertise, and the values that I bring. Constitutional values, smaller government values, and the determination to grow business in California. What I have done at Capistrano Unified is what I can do for the taxpayers across the state. I will bring forward lower taxation on business, cutting red tape, and making sure that we compete with the state of Texas to grow our economy. And in the process, there will be jobs. Thank you very much for your consideration. I look forward to answering more questions, and I appreciate your thinking of me for your vote.
Next, the opening statement from Wendy Gabriella.
I'm very pleased to be here, and I thank Cox and all of the work they're doing to put the forum together. My name is Wendy Gabriella, and as mentioned, I'm running for California State Assembly District 73. I'd like to tell you a little bit about my background and my experience that I can bring to Sacramento to represent you. First of all, I started my college education at Palomar Community College in San Diego County, and fortunately at that time community colleges were free, because as the eldest of 5 children and my father a high school teacher, there was going to be little money for college. I graduated, went to San Diego State, got interested in monkeys and Native Americans, and decided to major in anthropology. Got my bachelor's degree in anthropology, master's degree in anthropology, and immediately started teaching on a part-time basis throughout San Diego County. Difficult to make ends meet on a part-time faculty salary, so I was also working at 7-Eleven, and that's when I decided I'd better do something, so I went to law school. I graduated law school in 1989, passed the bar in 1990, had a daughter in 1989, and then got my full-time teaching job at Irvine Valley College in 1989. It was a banner year. Since Since that point in time, I've been teaching full-time at Irvine Valley College for 25 years, 30 years overall in the classroom. I think this classroom experience allows me to have in-depth knowledge about what needs to be done in terms of education in this state. Over half the California state budget is spent on education, and we need experienced educators making those decisions. Thank you, and I look forward to answering more questions.
Thank you. We will now begin the question and answer portion of the forum. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to respond to the questions posed. Here's our first question. Orange County is viewed as a conservative bastion and therefore not always seen as a power player in the capital. How will you help make Orange County effective and influential in Sacramento with a Democrat majority? We'll start with Ms. Gabriella this time.
Well, thank you very much, and that's one of the reasons why I'm running. I am a moderate Democrat, and I can provide the consensus building that we need in Sacramento between both Democrats and Republicans. At Irvine Valley College, in my experience, we had some disturbances and some issues, and I was a leader in bringing the parties together to work together in terms of our accreditation. I can do that in Sacramento as well. With a moderate Dem in that office, it would provide a voice for some of the more conservative constituents within our district. So I look forward to being there working hard for you.
Ms. Bryson, same question.
Looking at my track record, my years of business will tell you very clearly that the importance of working together comes from experience in the trenches of business. We have an economic problem in the state of California, and it is imperative that we do work together, but it's the knowledge of the economic drivers and the fiscal concerns and the ability to cut large budgets. I led the charge at Capistrano Unified to cut $140 million out of a budget that was approximately $520 million when I arrived. And that ability to lead the charge, to make the tough decisions and bring others along with you, because when people see the reality of what is happening to business and how these red tape items are killing small businesses, I hear from my constituents who are both Democrats and Republicans. I work on my board of trustees with both Democrats and Republicans. And we can work together, we must work together to achieve higher standards of living for everyone through jobs and through retaining the ability to educate every child. I'm a native Spanish speaker. It is my native tongue. Although I was born in Texas, I was taken to Montevideo, Uruguay when I was 6 weeks old. My concerns are for all citizens, and I want everyone to have a good education, a great job, and the ability to stay in California. Unlike my daughter, who left because of high taxation with her family, and many others that I talk to every day. Let's keep our talented middle class, heavy-duty hard workers who establish small businesses and grow an economy right here. And doing that, I will take my message because it's already worked here in Orange County, and I've already worked successfully with several Democrats on our board. And I think working together in the Assembly, I can get that message across very, very clearly. We can achieve together, we must achieve together for all Californians, and I can do that job.
Great, thank you. What committees would you like to serve on and why? And this time we'll start with Ms. Bryson.
I've already been invited to consider the Education Committee, which of course would be my primary and first concern. I have requested, if I arrive, the Budget Committee because of my macro finance knowledge. I do come out of the Hayek Austrian School of Economics. It's the school that you learn when you actually create businesses across the United States. It's a free market capitalist concept, and it's very important. Then the third thing would be transportation and business.
Great, Ms. Gabriella.
Well, I would be very excited to serve on any committee, but of course with my educational background, I would be most interested in serving on the Education Committee or the Higher Education Committee. Second, with my legal background, I would be very interested in serving on the judiciary. And the judiciary, of course, is a critical committee. And then I would also like to serve on the Appropriations Committee or either the Budget Committee. As I just mentioned, half of the California state budget is spent on education, and so we do need people with in the trenches experience looking at our financial future for education. Thank you.
Okay. Should the state be involved in solving the current water crisis? And do you support the governor's efforts to build tunnels beneath the Bay Delta near Sacramento to secure water for Southern California and elsewhere? Ms. Gabriela.
Yes, I was just reading the latest poll out, and the three top concerns among people in the state of California are first, jobs in the economy, second, water and the drought, and third, education. So yes, California, like all other states, has to be concerned with the water situation. 50% of the United States is under severe drought condition. So this is not simply a California issue, but an issue that affects us all in the United States. Our number one issue needs to be looking at conservation, and that can start in our schools with our youth, where many of our issues start. Also, we need to look at water storage facilities. The natural rainwater, should it ever happen again, has to be stored so that we can overcome issues like we're having right now. And third, we have to look at monitoring our underground aquifers. In 2008, 2009, our aquifers were drained, and we need to prevent that from happening in the future. I know the governor and the legislature have been introducing several bills and several issues to tackle our water situation. The underground tunnels is one plan. I think there are other plans as well, and I would look forward to joining a coalition of people concerned about our future in terms of water usage. Our resources in the world and in California are finite, and I think it's time that we're realizing and we're becoming aware of our finite resources, and we need to work together to stay together. Thank you.
Ms. Bryson.
Over a year ago, I published all my policies on all key issues in the state of California. One of the key things for me at that time, and it remains along with the rest of my policies, are reservoirs, the building of reservoirs. I spent the whole day recently with the chief engineer and the general manager of the Santa Margarita Water District, which is the second largest, I believe, in Orange County. It was an in-depth education in everything that our citizens need to know about the problems we have. Southern California has issues. We definitely, in my opinion, need the governor's plan for the water to come south. But I know there's a lot of pushback in Northern California concerning this plan. We don't see the snowpacks. We've had a very hot year. We don't see the possibility of always being assured of Colorado water, although we have access to that at this time. It's very important we build more reservoirs. Fortunately for us, South Orange County was one of the leaders in that due to a former citizen who had great prescient and foresight. But we need to build more reservoirs, and we need to do efficiencies, we need to do planning, and we need to do conservation. And reservoirs are at the top of the list. We also have in Dana Point a test case desal plant, desalination, and that is something that is used to great success in other parts of the world. It's certainly something that we should consider, and we should aggressively move forward in taking a look in that technology. But immediately, the reservoirs would be the answer, and they're critical that we continue to build the reservoirs.
Great, thank you very much. For our next question, we'll stay with the infrastructure theme. What is your position on the Caltrans proposal that would direct OCTA to address the congestion in freeway HOV lanes by requiring cars with less than 3 occupants to pay a toll? Ms. Bryson.
Well, I was the first person to launch what is actually an anti-congestion, although I have referred to it as a congestion pricing, but it is really anti-congestion pricing. It's a broad spectrum, economically driven pricing that would make sure that at the high peak times, everyone would pay the peak fee in order to move the lanes. During the times that the HOV is less used, there could be staggered and different fees. The seniors who are concerned always about these things would be able to go at the off-peak hours, much as you find the seniors flying at off-peak hours and on off-peak days before and after holidays when lesser are flying, when people are not flying as much who have families and businesses. So this would apply. And when people talk about Lexus lanes, that's an inaccurate statement. The Orange County Register recently published, actually there are 5 other categories of the middle-class cars that are used the most in the HOV lanes. That would be Camry, Toyota, Honda Civic, and 2 others. So this is something that will impinge and assist families to spend another hour together per day if it's a 30-minute gain each way, or more than 30 minutes per day if it's 15-minute gain each way. I'm a strong proponent for that. I'm a strong proponent for adding and making sure in the future that we get a 241 and that we have access and egress at all times for all citizens.
Ms. Gabriella.
Yes, I think like our resources being a finite resource, our land is a finite resource as well. And if you look at overall the state of California, our public transportation system needs some major overhaul and some major examination. If you travel to, for example, the city of Boston, you can get around in the city of Boston on all the public transportation. I think we're coming to the point in the state of California where we need to turn our focus toward the future in terms of the next 30 years, not in terms of the next 3 years. And I think the toll roads, or excuse me, the toll lanes are a short-term fix for a long-term problem. And we're not really addressing the problem of the crumbling and failing infrastructure with regards to all of our roads in the state of California. So I would be very much in favor of a committee that would look at the overall situation in terms of public transportation. We already have trains and railways that we can expand and we can make more efficient. And so until we take a broader look at where we're going in this state, I don't think it's time to start piecemealing things together in order to fix a long-term problem with a short-term solution. As usual, we see situations where the issue is not addressed and we're kicking the can down the road. So I'm not a person that would like to solve something at the moment and cause bigger problems down the road. This campaign is about looking forward and planning for the future. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Orange County is unique in that local governments, as well as other stakeholders, have really invested in working with state lawmakers to ensure the region is well represented. Can you discuss how you'd work with local governments and other stakeholders to ensure the state policy you are working on is good for the community? We'll start with Ms. Gabriella.
Yes, first I would do is plan a committee, and the committee advisory committee would consist of educators throughout the South Orange County, as well as small business owners throughout the county, and citizens. One of my issues in running is accessibility, and so I would want our voters to help in terms of planning for the future. I've worked really well in terms of working with people throughout my experience, and I have worked very well with voters during our campaign, and I would like to see this committee come together and make the best possible recommendations to me while I'm serving in Sacramento.
Ms. Bryson.
As someone who has worked for 7.5 years with every single city council in 7 of the 8 cities represented in the 73rd Assembly District, each city is unique in South County. Each city has unique issues. I am extremely well versed in the issues of the different cities. In Capistrano Unified School District, we have schools in every single one of the cities except for Laguna Hills, which is not in our district. So I have met and talked to almost every single one of the elected officials. We work very well with them on all the issues that cover our 56 schools and our 4,300 employees, and I am delighted to work with each city. Everyone has my cell phone number, and all the city officials, that's included. 55,000 people now, and that doesn't even include all the people online in the registrar of voters. I am very concerned for the uniqueness of each city and would never treat them as standard operating procedure all alike. Every city in South County has a unique culture, unique needs, and I would address them in that very specific way. It's very important to foster goodwill with the individuals who run the cities, both in the elected officials, the general management, and all of those who bring the services to our constituents. They know me well. I have been working in their schools and working with them for 7.5 years, and I would continue to bring the personal touch and my personal concerns to every city. It's a real pleasure, from riding on the float in the San Juan Capistrano Festival of Swallows, to going to the fabulous events in Dana Point Harbor, to enjoying the wharf and pier down there in San Clemente, and attending events from Rancho Santa Margarita, Mission Viejo, Laguna Niguel, where I live, and all the other cities. It will be a delight to keep working with city officials for those constituents and taxpayers.
This is our last question. We're going to give you a little twist. Name one state law or regulation that you'd repeal to benefit the district, and why? We'll start with you, Ms. Bryson.
I would actively go after every single law to repeal anything that involves red tape attacking small business. My restaurateurs, my small business owners, my entrepreneurs on both sides of the aisle are on the phone with me continuously, explaining to me how difficult it is to have a business, to build a home, to create anything, including a restaurant in California. Last year, Houston built 95,000 homes, and California only built 94,000 homes for the entire state. That's the kind of thing that we have to stop, and we have to lift the litigation procedures so that people can have jobs without being litigated to death in their own small businesses. It's imperative. I would also defend our school districts. They need a solid flow of funding that's attached to each child like a backpack, and each child should be able to take that money wherever they go. All the money that was supposed to go into school districts from Prop 30 does not flow into Capistrano Unified. We are not a 51% district, therefore we only get 7,600 approximately, and other districts who are 51% will receive a great deal more, closer to 11,800. It's a problem for our children and a lot of children in the state. We want all children to do well, but we need to make sure that the money goes with the children and doesn't just flow into the administration and flow out and not attach it to the children. We have 5 charters in Capistrano Unified, and we are very for parental rights. We have worked very hard to make that delivery. So it's important to defeat anything that would disrupt the flow into school districts and stop this business of the May revise, the August rethink, and then they cut even more out of our budgets. I would attack that and anything that attacks the creation of small businesses. Thank you.
Ms. Gabriella.
Well, I think one issue, first of all, would be comprehensive CEQA reform. The governor right now, as well as the legislature right now, has granted exceptions to certain provisions of the CEQA Act. And that, again, results in the piecemeal effect that I was talking about with regards to our transportation infrastructure. So CEQA reform would be one of the issues that I would be most interested in Sacramento. Second of all, I think we have a problem with regards to streamlining our current laws and practices with regards to small businesses and Americans with Disability Acts. We do have some unscrupulous attorneys who do prey on small business owners with regards to ADA compliance. And so I would like to become a part of a coalition that would streamline our laws so that our unscrupulous colleagues do not have access to small business owners' pocketbooks. Thirdly, in terms of repealing laws, I think very important that when a law is enacted, we have to look at the overreaching effects of the laws. And so with my attorney legal background, I would be one of the most important people to serve on the Judiciary Committee that looks at overbreadth and overreaching with regards to all of our citizens as well as small business owners. So I'd be very excited to work on those projects. Thank you.
Well, we've come to the close of the question period. Thank you very much for your responses. We will now move to the closing statements. Each candidate will have 2 minutes, and we'll begin with Ms. Gabriella.
My campaign began in August of last year, and when I announced my candidacy, I was pleasantly surprised at the traction that we received. First of all, I want to thank everybody who has been supporting this campaign and working very hard. In December, once the filing period opened, we started gathering signatures. I was one of the top 2 in the county, including the incumbents, in gathering signatures. That could only happen with support and a team, which I've had right from the beginning. Also, I want to be accessible to the voters. So our signature drive really helped us in terms of the next phase of the campaign, which we're in the middle of right now, which is walking precincts and meeting voters. I've been very surprised in South Orange County to see how much support there is for a candidate rather than for a party. So I've received, in terms of donations, I've received money from both Republicans and Democrats and our new non-party preference. So I think I'm a well-rounded candidate, a consensus-building candidate, very practical and reasonable. And that's what we need in Sacramento. Also, I am very accessible to the voters, to the constituents. My cell phone number is on my business card and on my website. I would like to invite you to visit my website at wendygabriella.com. My email is there as well. I answer all my email personally. And although it's getting difficult as we're getting closer to the election, I try to respond within a 24-hour time period. So I invite you to contact me. I would love to meet with you, and we could talk some more.
And Ms. Bryson.
Thank you very much for taking the time to watch this. Your vote is very important. I have established a track record, and I'm very proud of that track record. Not only have I voted to save the taxpayers $59 million, which no other candidate can say, but I also have made sure that we have total financial transparency. I have cut money out of a very slim budget in the worst downfall in education history in California, and take that, and I have applied that to moving forward with the best record for education. We're almost at 900 API, and that's an astounding record. So we are there with Capistrano Unified with all our children. All 53,000 of them are at the highest level of learning. And I'd like to make sure that all children get to that level. It's very important. And I also want to make sure that all our business people are able to create jobs with our educated children who are able to go out there and do the job and do the work. It's very powerful when you can look at what I have actually done as opposed to what others would like to tell you they will do. And what was done with both sides of the aisle, with people of goodwill working together and working hard to solve the problems that we have across the state. We have a small budget, and it's often cut. And in this state, we need to cut our big budget a lot. And we need to make sure that the stream to education is stable and goes with the child, and that the small businessman has an opportunity to hire people and to keep his business and to grow it. AnnaBryson.com is where you can find all my policies, which have been posted for the past year. I am well known to the voters. I've answered my own phone for 7.5 years and have solved multiple problems for you. I look forward to continuing my hard-working record of working for you. It's an honor to serve the American people. Thank you for giving me that opportunity again. Anna Bryson.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are out of time. We'd like to thank Anna Bryson and Wendy Gabriella for taking time today to join us for this edition of the Cox 3 Candidates Forum. This episode, as well as the rest in the series, will be available on Cox On Demand, channel 2636, and on the Cox 3 website at cox3.com. Thank you for joining us. For Cox 3, I'm Kate Klimo. Please be sure to vote on June 3rd.